An entry-level dash cam that records everything? Let's check it out. Dave Taylor here, and I want to talk about dash cams. Now, if you're not a Lyft or Uber driver, you might not be sure what they are, but it's this sort of device. It's a little camera that primarily is intended to record what's happening in front of your vehicle at all times, but some of them also can record what's happening in the car, and others can actually record what's happening behind your car. The idea is that it all goes onto a little teeny tiny SD or micro SD card, and that gives you video footage if you get into an accident, if you are a driver and you have an unruly passenger, whatever the case may be. If you just want to watch your kids later because to see what they were doing in the back seat, I suppose you could do that too. But dash cams are pretty fun, and they're particularly fun if you have a long road trip that you're heading on. So I checked out the Thinkware F100, and this is their entry level. It's sort of like their Lego of dash cams. It's a successor to the F50, and it's actually a pretty nice little device. As you can see, it's very small, and it does a full HD dual channel recording system. So you're getting 1080p at 30 frames a second out of the front camera, that's this, and this gives you a 135-degree of view. You can optionally plug in a rear camera, and you can also optionally plug in a GPS unit to get your exact coordinates as you're driving. But let's go ahead and let's just look at some footage. That's much more fun, right? So this first footage is just a quick daytime shot, and obviously I've sped it up to make it a little more interesting. Fact is, it's not very exciting to watch someone driving. And then this footage is actually nighttime footage, and you can see it's a little bit harder to see what's going on. It's a little bit more out of focus maybe, but still both of them can be very useful and fun. And if you're assembling, for example, a video about your big trip or your road trip to visit your kids in college or to go to the beach or something, then cutting actually into some of the traffic you might have driven through, or winding roads, or as you pull up to the beach, that could be really fun. So there's a lot of fun you can have with this. Now, to be fair, it really is kind of an entry-level unit, and so it doesn't have Wi-Fi connectivity, for example, so it's really hard to adjust it to get it just right. What I found was that I put it in, I thought I had it at just the right angle, luckily I did, and then I just let it go, and it basically automatically records in a continuous loop, and it's 1-minute segments. So once it fills up, it just starts overwriting the oldest, so you never run out of space. And this particular one, the F100, comes with a 16 gig card. That is enough for a lot of hours of driving. And so if you are driving along and you realize that you had noticed an accident 20 minutes earlier or something, you can definitely still capture that footage. So there's much fun, but again, no Wi-Fi, no ability to use a smartphone app to see what's going on or even to adjust the settings. Turns out to adjust the settings is a little bit complicated because you end up having to run, there's a Mac or PC app called Dashcam, and here's an example. This is the Mac version, and you can see it lets you watch this, and if you have rear cameras and if you have the GPS, all of that will show up. But as is, just the base unit, the app is a little bit disappointing. It doesn't even show what speed I'm driving at, which might be good in this case, but I'd like to know that. So in that app, you can adjust the settings on this device. But with the device itself, there's really no way to connect to it directly from a phone or even have like configuration buttons. So that takes a little getting used to. It's not necessarily the most advanced unit on the market, but then again, it's not priced to be. There are $200, $300, $400 units that are really cool and have lots of really nice features, and frankly have screens right there. You can actually see on the screen and confirm what's going on. This is far more discreet. In fact, I put this on my car dashboard and it was behind where I would see the rear view mirror, so I literally couldn't see this. So all that I saw was the wire running down, which is easy to forget. So this becomes something that's really nice and is certainly at a nice entry-level price. Now, let me tell you about, what else can I tell you? So that has a parking mode, so you can actually have it running while your car is parking or parked and you've walked away. The issue with that is that anything like that isn't going to work with the regular car adapter. You're going to have to hardwire it to your car battery because it's going to need power even when your car's off. So I didn't get a chance to try parking mode. There's also an accident, or what they call G-sensor or G-shock mode, and that's actually also really cool, is that if you get into an accident, it will immediately not only record everything that's happening, but it'll actually protect those particular video segments, so later you can go back and review them and see, was it really that other guy's fault, or was it kind of because you weren't in your lane, or whatever happened. 1 minute interval loop sections or loop recording, like I said, and you really want to price it around, because the version that I got came with a 16 gig card, but I've seen online other companies are selling this product with a 32 gig card. Having said that, 16 gigs a lot of space when you're doing something like this. So unless you get the optional rear camera and the optional GPS, you're not going to be generating a huge amount of footage. And my guess is that couple of hours of continuous loop is going to be plenty. So let's see. Has a microphone and built-in speaker. Not exactly sure what the benefit of that is, but I suppose it's interesting. I did find that I didn't realize I sing along to songs sometimes without being conscious of it. So I've edited that out of the footage you saw for your own benefit. The front camera is a 1080p, but the rear camera, if you get the optional rear unit, that's only 720p. That's worth noting. More importantly is everything's wired. So if you want to have this on your front on the windshield, and then you want to have the rear camera, you're going to have to run not just the wire down for power for this, but you're also going to have to run a wire all the way from the front windshield all the way to the back, where you will actually have the rear camera mounted. So there's a lot of wiring involved. I would guess at the level you're doing that, you might want to do a professional install and have it done nice and discreetly, at which point maybe you would upgrade your unit too, because you're investing some substantial money in it at that point. Still, this is kind of like a build it or DIY sort of dash cam, which is fun, and I like that. So, only thing left to talk about really is the price. But before I get there, let me ask if you can click on that subscribe button. Really appreciate if you can subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Now, let's start with the accessories. This is the Thinkware F100 HD dash cam, and the rear camera accessory, which I don't have to show you, is $49.99. The GPS unit, and both of those actually plug into this, and the GPS unit is $34.99. The F100 itself with 16 gig micro SD card and the power cable and a bunch of different mounts and windshield mounts and everything, and even a micro SD to SD adapter. All of that's included in the box. That will run you $109.99, and I found it at bhphotovideo.com. So B&H is one place you can look. You can also just go onto the Thinkware website and you can check it out. I think these are really fun. I think that if you're taking a road trip or something, it can be really fun to get some footage of what's happening in front of you and of your drive. Could be great memories, who knows? Anyway, this is Dave Taylor. I'm gonna go put this back in my car and go for another drive, which means I'll catch you in my next video.